What would happen if you tried to think like the 1% for a whole month? If you rewired your brain, not for more intelligence, but for radically better, simpler, more effective thinking? That's exactly what I set out to do. For 30 days, I lived and worked by the same mental frameworks the world's most successful entrepreneurs and billionaires use every single day. Here's what happened, and how you can start thinking like the 1% too. Before I spill the 6 powerful mindset upgrades that truly set the top 1% apart, pause for a second. If you're obsessed with growth and want no-nonsense strategies for success, make sure to subscribe to the Growth Mindset Project and hit the bell so you never miss out. All right, let's dig deep. I started this 30-day experiment hoping to unlock some mysterious mental code only billionaires know. But within days, my first lesson hit me. It's not about thinking more. It's about thinking better, and often less. Here's the first framework that flipped my approach to life and business on its head. Most people see everything as black and white. You either succeed or you fail. You're good or you're bad. It's either quit or keep pushing. But the world's top 1%, they thrive in the gray area, where most of us get uncomfortable. They avoid binary thinking. They don't get stuck in or, they live in and. Let me give you some examples. This person screwed up and they've done a lot of good. This plan is scary and it might still work. I'm nervous and I'm moving forward anyway. Life is messy, and thinking in ands gives you flexibility, clarity, and emotional resilience. It's letting yourself be both successful and still in progress, strong and vulnerable, tired and still able to take another step. I realized I'd been holding myself to an impossible standard, and giving myself the freedom to be a work in progress changed everything about my outlook and my productivity. Try this. The next time things feel overwhelming, catch yourself thinking or and trade it for and. I feel like giving up and I can take one more step. This isn't some productivity hack. It's about building a resilient mind, which, it turns out, is the true foundation of success. The top 1% think in ands. That's secret number 1. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The ultra-successful don't fixate on magical paths to victory. They actually obsess over one thing. What will cause me to lose? It's called inversion thinking. Instead of asking, how do I win? Ask, how could I guarantee failure? When I applied this to business, relationships, and health, I saw giant mistakes I'd been blind to before. I used to believe that the more I thought, the more I'd succeed. I'd overanalyze everything, meticulously plan launches, prepare every sales call, try to think my way past every obstacle, but honestly, that just fueled my procrastination and made me overconfident in useless, perfect plans. When you focus only on winning, you miss the obvious traps. When you invert the problem, what are surefire ways to fail? It's the pitfalls jump out. In business, I realized if I wanted to kill my company, I'd hire the wrong people, ignore customers, stop learning. So what did I do? I did the opposite. Avoiding failure rather than chasing abstract success made my decisions sharper, faster, and far more practical. Thinking like the 1% is about identifying what could derail you and systemically steering away from it. So the next time you're stuck or overthinking, flip the script. Ask yourself, how could I mess this up? Fix those points, and you're on a far more robust track to success. If you're finding value here, let me know by liking the video and dropping your thoughts below. What's your biggest overthinking trap? And do you default to or and thinking? I'd love to know. Here's the next mindset. Sunk cost is a siren song that keeps millions stuck. The top 1% don't let past effort dictate present choices. The lessons stung, but when I stared at the projects, relationships, and routines that no longer served me, I realized holding on because I'd already invested time or money was just protecting my ego, not my future. I remember sinking 2 years into a product that the market just didn't want. The day I let it go, I felt a lightness and clarity that I hadn't experienced in years. If I wouldn't start this today, I shouldn't keep doing it. Simple as that. The top 1% understand. The price of your education is what you spent on the wrong path. Staying just digs the hole deeper. Same with personal life. I'd wanted a dog for years. Finally got one, then launched my business. Suddenly, caring for my dog became a burden and source of stress. I asked myself, if I didn't own him today, would I get one? The honest answer, no. So I gave him to a family who'd love him more than I could. Value today over nostalgia for yesterday. That's a harsh but necessary upgrade if you want to think like the 1%. Another major shift. Focus on constraints, not incremental improvements. Most people scatter their energy, tweaking a bit here, fixing a minor issue there, hoping it'll add up to a breakthrough. But the 1% are laser-focused on the single bottleneck holding everything back. For me, it was always tempting to pour time into small optimizations. But the truth was, my business needed one thing: the right people. I cleared my schedule and spent 2 months on recruiting, ignoring every unrelated task. That move changed the trajectory of my company far more than any batch of little upgrades ever could. This works in relationships, health, and every part of life. Ask yourself, what is the one real constraint holding me back? Fixing that moves the needle more than a dozen minor tweaks. Usually it's the tough, uncomfortable problem you've been putting off, and tackling it head-on is the 1% way. Here's a quick checkpoint. If you're still here growing with us, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share your thoughts down below. Your engagement keeps this project thriving and helps more people discover how to think like the 1%. Now, back to the mindsets. Let's talk about emotions and decision-making, because this was a game changer in my experiment. One of the main reasons we struggle to think like the 1% is that we let emotions dictate our decisions. Stress, fear, urgency, even excitement. I learned to never decide when I'm emotionally charged. If I felt anxious, angry, or rushed, I didn't allow myself to make any choices, big or small. Only when I felt truly content and neutral would I move forward. Why? Because stress makes us short-sighted, fear makes us risk-averse, and anger makes us reactive. I saw it happen up close, especially with money decisions. There was a moment when I was offered a deal that could save us $5 million, but something didn't feel right. I felt panicked. Instead of jumping, I waited a day. With calm came clarity. The deal would have tied me to someone who later crashed his own company. The top 1% have this rule drilled into their nervous system. If you're feeling emotional, do nothing till you're calm. That's when true, clear thinking and true leverage rises. Here's the final framework I lived by for my 30-day experiment. Time horizon anchoring. This is the ultimate secret sauce. Most people give up way too soon. They mistake friction for failure, boredom for needing a new plan. But making real progress means outlasting your doubts and sticking with the plan until actual data, not feelings, say to pivot. The 1% aren't playing for quick wins. They're playing the long game. They stay steady when most people capsize at the first storm. I watched myself in so many areas get tempted to jump ship the minute things got tough. I retrained myself. The plan works until clear evidence, and not just discomfort, says it doesn't. So here's the challenge I want you to take up this week. Every time you catch yourself spiraling into overthinking, reach for one of these tools. Ask, how could this fail? Use and instead of or. Ask, would I start this today? Find the bottleneck, check your emotions, and anchor your timeline longer than your comfort zone. Thinking like the 1% means shredding mental clutter, focusing on what really counts, moving forward with discipline, and trusting the process, not the panic. If you want to go deeper, check out our other videos on the channel. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a mindset upgrade. Catch you on the next one.